The alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Are you craving for that special meal that will entice your taste buds and leave you with lasting thrilling memories? Look no further. Spice Island Bulenga has got your answer. Natural, fresh and delicious juice, the best meals. Don't miss our daily specials from Monday to Sunday. Pizza Wednesday, Saturday Pizza Bonanza, you buy one and take two. Come dine with us and feel the experience. We are located at Prime Shopping Center in Bulenga, Mitiana Road. For inquiries, call us on 0704111720. Spice Island, we treat your cravings.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk,
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
The alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. Today is the 14th day of January 2021. It's a weekend. Thank you so much for everybody who has tuned in today. As we do every particular Saturday, we have retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye on set, and we always talk about some issues that we think are of national importance and some of the information that has made rounds throughout the week. This week has been an interesting week right here in Kampala, Uganda, where we are streaming live from various stories have been going around. One is that Uganda is finally Ebola free. Congratulations. After 42 days of no recorded case, the Minister of Health, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, was able to actually declare Uganda Ebola free. So for all the tourists that are out there that would love to tour the Pearl of Africa, Uganda, it's your opportunity to come. We are Ebola free, and you will be able to actually, have a very good time right here in Uganda. We also have various stories. Dr. Baryomusi blacked out earlier in the week, and he was rushed to Kambuga Hospital, where he got treatment. Later on, he was flown to Kampala to make sure that he gets better, medication in that regard, and he is swiftly recovering, which is a very, very good message and a very good note to Ugandans. So continue recovering, Minister for ICT, Chris Baryomusi. Then we've had a week that has been Then we've between the NSSF and the minister, that is between the NSSF and the minister of 6 billion shillings of 6 billion dispersed from NSSF to the minister in order to help her, do some things that she feels were under her, in her obligation to make sure that NSSF works better. The question is, how often has this been happening? Is there money that we do not know about that has been making rounds? And the question and the rhetoric is, how safe is Ugandan money, or how safe is the money that Ugandans are saving for themselves? NSSF for a while now, or over time, has has been having or has been mad with a lot of controversy, especially when it comes to the money that Ugandans. So how safe is this money? We'll be talking about that with Dr. Kizza Besigye. So please do tune in. You can keep forwarding this message, share it to all of your friends, your colleagues, the various groups that is on Facebook. We are at The Alternative Uganda. We are at Digitalk TV still on Facebook. On YouTube, you can also find us at The Alternative Uganda and at TikTok TV. We have our YouTube channels. You will be finding the different programs that we have recorded for you throughout. We have various programs from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, plus Sunday. We make sure that we redefine how communication is made through our social media platforms. Globally, Brazil is still, battling with riots. Some supporters of a gentleman called Jair Bolsonaro, who was the president, and he was actually ousted from power through an election by Mr. Lula da Silva. His supporters of Bolsonaro believe that they were cheated and they will not accept the results of the elections. That has made many of them run riots and protests that is on the streets of Rio de Janeiro, and over 300 of them have been imprisoned today. And still on the international scene, we have Prince Harry and his memoirs, Spare. That's a book that has been written and disseminated by the Prince of England, that is Harry, and he talks about his life story and some of the things that many people have not learned about the royal lineage. So he talks about the relationship with his father, his family, and some of the things that and how he felt after his mother Diana passing on in that road accident. So in case you would love to know more about this particular book, you can check various online stores. You can actually get it for yourself. It's one of the best-selling books in just a short while, because it was, I think, released earlier this week. But in that short span of time, we have seen many people grabbing themselves copies. So in case you want to just find out what he says, check through those different online libraries, and you'll be able to get that. And I think, let me just end at that. There are various news stories that are going around. In the United States, there are stories of climate change. Floods are everywhere. What is happening to our community? I'll be even asking Dr. Kizza Besigye later on in the show what his thoughts are on the increasing climate patterns that are happening right in the world today or globally. So please do tune in. Retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye is already here with me, and without any further ado, allow me welcome him. You are welcome, Dr. Kizza Besigye.
Thank you very much, Edgar, and always a pleasure to be at the Digitalk TV on Saturdays. A very good morning to all of you, dear viewers, wherever you are joining in from. I hope that you've had a good week. And I also know that many people would also have had challenges, some huge, some of different magnitudes throughout the week. And so my sympathies and prayers for all those who are going through, difficult times. And also to join those who are celebrating various occasions today and throughout the week. I join you in thanking the Lord for whatever good you are celebrating. And actually, we had some celebrations yesterday of birthdays of people that are close to me. So those who are celebrating anything, I join you in doing so. Right. Yeah, otherwise, I hope we will have a good conversation. I hope you send in your comments, because this is an interactive engagement, and would like to know what your views are. This is why this is called The Alternative. We want to see the various alternatives that can make our country better.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Doctor. Just in, and as we start off, how has been your week, politically and physically, financially, everything? How has been your week throughout? Is there anything special?
Well, I've always told you that I celebrate every day. Every day that dawns, I celebrate, because it's indeed by the grace of God. Every day is a hassle, a very terrible hassle, from all angles. You know, meeting the needs of survival, economic needs, the social needs. You know, maintaining health, maintaining friends and colleagues who are in all kinds of challenges, some in jail, some in all kinds of difficulties. It's a hassle. Yes. In Uganda, we must celebrate each day. Even this morning when I was coming here, we nearly bashed into some boda who was flying right in front of
your car. Yes.
And I said, oh well, you know, I thank the Lord, because it was a split of a second, and we would not be here right now talking. So yeah, that's how all our weeks are. In an environment like we live of struggle, struggle for fundamental changes, survival is a large part of success. The fact that you are alive and well and able to push on, that is already a large part of the success. So hang in there, you know, keep alive and keep fighting. Exactly. And things will be better, no doubt.
All right, we'll start off with a story from the NSSF. NSSF for a while now, Doctor, as you have known, it has been mad with a lot of controversy. The latest being a minister requesting, let me use the word ordering, the board to disseminate a particular amount of money for what she deems is some things that she's mandated to do. And she requested for over 6 billion shillings. And this has been told to us by the NOTU chairman, Yoweri. He's the one who actually informed the public. Nobody knew about it. And according to Yoweri, this, she first requested this money from Byarugaba, who was the executive director then. And when he refused to do this, Byarugaba is not in office today. We are seeing Ayota is the one who's working as acting executive director. The question is, or the rhetoric is, Doctor, what does this mean to the people of Uganda? Should we say that their money is actually safe?
You see, it's not among who is the minister you are talking about, minister responsible for overseeing the National Social Security Fund. It is the structure of the state, the structure of government that has obliterated accountability, public accountability, and instituted a system of impunity, a system of use of, you know, of public offices capriciously, whimsically. You know, people using the public offices as they want to achieve whatever needs they have for themselves, not for the public good, where public accountability would be required. This is in the whole system. It's not just NSSF. And it is because we have built, rather than have a system where public goods, public resources are applied primarily for public good, for the good of everybody, and where control of those resources and public goods is with the owners, the people.
Yes.
And they direct how those things should be applied. This was turned on its table. The control of all public goods and wealth has been personalized. It is controlled by. This is why we call it personal rule or family rule. It's actually all controlled by the Museveni household, who then dispenses or gives some of that power of patronage to those whom he delegates or whom he delegates to use the resources not primarily for the good of who owns those resources, but for their own good. In other words, to maintain their power, to advance, expand their power, and of course, to accumulate their personal assets. This is regrettably the situation. So all places where there is public money, it has been plundered completely. First look at the central bank, which is the store, the central store of what we produce.
Yes.
You know?
All the money collected in various regions of Uganda is
stored there. That is the place that was first plundered. As we talk, and there has been, of course, a lot of telling lies about what is there in the central bank. The central bank is empty. They talk about reserves. We have built reserves. There is no reserve in that central bank.
How sure are you of that?
I'm telling you, because you know the plunder that especially happened around 2011, the governor of the bank himself, came out and protested at that time. The late Mutebire protested, and indeed there was concern by all other people who know what is there, the World Bank, the IMF, and so on, because they are also there peeping in the store. And the plunder had been done without the authority, even knowledge of Parliament. Mr. Museveni had ordered the bank to release money, and the bank had released the money in complete violation of the law. So this is why I call it plan. It was haste. It was like, you go with guns and rob a bank. That is exactly what happened in 2011.
And where were these funds going? To the personal use of the president?
Yes. Personal use, meaning for purposes which he determines. Not for purposes which the owners of the money determine.
But it's your constitution that gives the power to the president to do
But
that.
I'm telling you that was not constitutional. He did that in total violation. And, this is documented. It's not in dispute that he removed. This was about 2 trillion, which was removed at a go. 2 trillion of 2011.
2 trillion.
Yes, that was removed at a go.
And that was 12 years ago. So if
yes,
we look at
without the knowledge or approval of the Parliament. That was not the only one. He has directed payments out of the consolidated fund, out of our store,
Eggwanika ly'eggwanga, let me put it in Luganda.
Yes.
For those who...
Without, the authority, because the constitution you are talking about is very clear that no money shall be paid out of the consolidated fund at all. There are no exceptions without the approval of Parliament. Either through an appropriation, through budget, the appropriation law, or through some resolution of Parliament. No money is allowed to leave the store. So the cases I'm telling you is where that has been done without that being followed. And nothing happens. No, no consequences. That's what we call impunity. You can violate the Constitution with impunity in regards to our resources. The money he directed, for example, to give Basaja Balaba, on a flimsy, letter directing you, and in those words, directing you, though the Constitution says that the Bank of Uganda shall not be under the direction of any person or authority. That is the categorical law. Yes, shall not be under the direction of any person or authority. But he puts it in writing to the governor, I am directing you. And the governor responds to the direction. We've taken the governor and the bank to court for these violations of the Constitution and of the law. The cases have never been heard since 2007 up to now.
Around 16 years ago.
Yes, the case has never been heard. First, they tried to throw it out of court illegally. We protested and so on. The case was reinstated. It has never been heard up to now. How the violations that gave money to Basaja Balaba, to a man called Kananathan, whom they had brought that he's going to do a Goa, a factory to export to America, and he was supposed to be an investor. He ended up being given our money.
The Pinati style.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's a continuous thing. And so
yes.
The plunder, this is plunder, it's not corruption, it's plunder, it's robbery, it's haste. It's just taking things totally illegally, grabbing money and taking it out of the law. It's not just happening in the Bank of Uganda. It happens across the whole government.
But isn't this due to the fact that our constitution that we made in 1995 invests a lot of power in an individual, the powers to appoint?
That is a different problem. But this is simply violation of the law. It has nothing to do with. You see what you are saying.
Yes.
Could be that you have a lot of power that gives you access to use of resources.
No, because if I appoint the governor of the Bank of Uganda, if I'm the one who appoints all the ministers, if I'm the one who appoints everybody, that means I can pull my strings at any time.
It means you have influence, okay, but that influence, the reason there is a law is that the influence should be regulated by law. So even if you appoint, for example, the president appoints judges, but the reason such offices are given what is called security of tenure. In other words, although you appoint me, you are not at liberty to sack me by a stroke of a pen because I have done something you don't like. So the courts are protected by provisions that make their offices secure from abuse
External
of their
abuse.
appointing authority. However,
Yes, sir.
when that happens, then the brute force comes in. You see? And it has happened. The courts are then attacked by the actual military coming to the court, beating up people, killing judicial officers who die mysteriously. Yes.
That is an allegation as well.
Well, they are killed.
We don't have facts.
We don't have facts.
They may
but
also have rogue people around.
we don't have facts, but prosecutors, like Kagezi, they die,
Yeah, but we die. Everybody can die.
Yes, I hear you.
Yes, sir.
But that's why if there is a situation of a public officer, even not a public officer, even yourself, if you die unnaturally, there should be an inquest. And the reason there is that inquest is to find out how you could have died. So people who are holding such responsibilities,
Yes.
who die not naturally, whose inquests don't produce
Results.
leave it at the very least, that they died because they were not sufficiently protected from that death. Neither is the cause of the unknown able to be found by those who should find it. And so that is what breaks down the ability of institutions to do what they ought to do to serve the common good, the public good. You yourself, you've just in your introduction said that when the 6 billion that Honorable Amongi demanded for was not handed over as demanded, the one who was supposed to hand it over is not in office. So the person who replaces the one who has been, who has found himself in those circumstances, how do you expect the one who replaces him to act? So this is how all institutions have been broken down and plundered. So tell me which institution, as required by law, advertises jobs, and there is a transparent process of recruitment.
The jobs are always there in newspapers. You find them around in the middle pages there, but they're always there.
Yes, tell me. I'm sure you may have even yourself been out there, maybe applying for jobs. Is there any job? Can any Ugandan talk of any transparent process through which public job opportunities are given, advertised, competed for transparently, and the best person awarded? No. So this, the use of patronage to put people in positions of responsibility, not the deserving ones, but because the people who are in charge of the country want to put their relatives or their cronies or who then become compliant, service those who appoint them rather than service the public good.
So, but where is the thin line? Because when you look at what Dr. Amongi says...
So NSSF, the other time in COVID, when all the workers were up against the wall, couldn't leave, there was a whole fight to say, we saved our money. This money should be there to save us. We don't save money for the sake of it. This is a crisis. Why can't this money save us? And you know how long it took to even make what eventually was not certainly helpful in that crisis of the mid-term access. You know, because especially when you are in a country where there are no, you know, other forms of securing people in crisis. Because in other countries, as you may have seen during COVID, they were giving money to the population, direct transfers of money to people because they have reserves from which they could do that. This is why I was telling you.
No, but that money was passed by your parliament, the parliament that governs this country. They passed that money that was to be dispersed to people, over 45 billion, I think.
Which?
That money that was supposed to be for COVID relief, the money that was dispersed.
Yeah, but
that
was just a joke. I am sure you know that was simply a joke. How many people in Uganda got it? And to what extent would it even deal with what I'm talking about? In other countries that have reserves, they would now make a monthly stipend, a monthly payment to families, to all people who are, or adults who are in need. But it's because they have reserves. We had nothing. Even
if we had, do we have the capacity to disperse money to every Ugandan, 48 million, every Ugandan to receive money, doctor?
What you are saying,
even
if we had. Of course, Uganda. Even if we had.
Yeah, if we had the money we say we have in the reserves today, would we be able to do that?
Of course, if we had the money in the reserves, we would. But even that 40 whatever billion you are talking about was not, and this is why I'm telling you that the Bank of Uganda is empty.
Okay.
Even that 40 billion that they used to buy a few things here and there did not come from the reserves. It had to be borrowed, and that's why there was...
It was allocated by Parliament, but Doctor...
No. They had to go and borrow, and it took quite some time. We borrowed 600 million euro, which took time to come before they could buy
the stuff,
the first bag of posho.
All right, I would love to also pick the mind of people who are watching us.
And it's
you can just send us your comments, a question that you have to Dr. Besigye, and any particular comment that you'd like to make on this particular issue. The issue of 6 billion shillings that was disbursed, or that is supposed to be disbursed by the NSSF to the ministry. And Dr. Mongi says that she can only approve the budget after this 6 billion has been disseminated. Doctor, then a minister says that the law gives her the prerogative and the ministry the prerogative to look through the budget of NSSF before approving it.
Yes,
and she says she is doing her job.
You see, that money is not government money.
It's Ugandan money, people's money.
It is workers' money. People who have worked, saved the money,
their sweat,
for their future. It is not government money. In other places,
yes,
the pension funds are not controlled by government. People have freedom to save with any pension fund, like you store your money in any bank you choose. You choose which bank to go to. Part of the solution, in fact, of dealing with this is to liberalize pension funds so that it's not a monopoly of NSSF, which is controlled by the minister and the junta.
Supervised, not controlled.
Well, if you've just been saying that they have power to...
Yeah, they supervise. They supervise NSSF.
And to direct...
Because when you leave NSSF alone, we've also had grievances of NSSF in the past when the way they do their work.
It has never been alone. NSSF has always been part of the Ministry of Labor. And this is what I'm saying, that it can be on its own and be supervised by the central bank like other banks are supervised, like other financial institutions are supervised. And so if you don't have prudent management of the fund, workers can shift their money, should have the ability to shift their money. So now the law even does not provide for what the minister was doing. Even when you say they supervise, yes, they supervise, but there is the NSSF Act, which provides for the board. The minister, together through cabinet or whatever, can contribute to appointing the board. Some of the board members are ex-officials and so on. And the board then has the power to run the fund.
But it looks like the minister has the power over the board as well.
Not in terms of determining what decisions are taken.
Yes.
No, unless they take illegal decisions or something like that.
Yes.
So, but for you see, a minister's work, which is defined indeed in the law,
yes,
is paid for by the consolidated fund. We pay the minister to do all the tasks that ministry entails. The minister is not supposed to fundraise
solicit for someone
from anywhere, whether from the public or from. We are supposed to facilitate the minister through the budget to the ministry, and therefore it is wrong, completely wrong, for the minister to go and raise funds if what she was going to do is a responsibility of the ministry. Then it must be paid for by the ministry, not by those that she's supposed to supervise. But simply because there is a breakdown of that public accountability that I was talking about, because who will say you are wrong? The supervisor of Amongi is the president, whom I have told you is the chief culprit. Is the one who is the chief plunderer, actually. You know, so what moral authority would the president have to say, you Amongi, what are you doing?
So that's what you're trying to say, that because, let me say, the head is dealing with impunity, as you say, it goes down to the people who are
absolutely. So it's built in. It's built in. And
someone has made a statement before saying that there are many dictators in Uganda today.
Yes, they are. So that is what the president himself delegates. He delegates what he does and how he does it. And it goes down all the way to the bottom. Because all these are supposed to do whatever they do to entrench the system that is going on. Because why are these public officials, even the lower ones, stealing or doing things that are illegal? It is because they also have to service patronages below them. You know, so if you go to Amongi's office, you'll find a horde of people, like in no other offices of ministers. You'll find a horde of people from the constituency, from other places, all looking for money to be given to them for all kinds of things. So they are donors also. So they go and plunder, and so they control their own offices through patronage. Just like at the top, they also use patronage to control all those around him. That's why even this controversy we are talking about of Saleh and the Lord Mayor, that's exactly how it comes in. Because Saleh, who is the wealth creator, supposed to be the wealth creator, has slush funds that he can use to support all kinds of, interests that he deems necessary.
And one of those interests is the Lord Mayor.
No, according to him, whether that is valid or not, without examining that, but he's admitting, you see, he's simply saying, I have the capacity to do this. I have the capacity to support people to be in office.
Isn't that like an illegal? Isn't that like a crime?
Of course, this whole patronage is illegal. It's in fact born out of crime. It's criminal. Because these monies, I'm telling you, which they are using,
yes,
they are criminally procured money. Yes, money meant for something else, and you apply it to other things. Or even when they procure it formally, like, the money that goes to State House, this budget which everybody is crying about, that goes to State House every day, billions every day going.
We'll even talk about that because the presidential minister says that money is actually not enough.
Yes, so that one is legally provided through the budget.
Yes, sir.
But it is illegitimate, even when it is legal. So part of it is outrightly illegal, which is, some kind of a direct robbery where they don't follow the law. But even where they follow the law and take money where the owners of the money have great needs but cannot access their own money. So that is legally done, but it is illegitimate, and must be condemned. And that's why we are fighting to end illegitimacy, not just illegality, but even illegitimacy. That you are doing things, you find a minister being, which you talked about, a minister being flown out of a non-functioning hospital for him to go, first of all, airlifting one person from the border
Kanungu.
with Congo.
From Kanungu.
Airlifting one person to Kampala, the cost of sending a plane to remove one person. But do you know how many people are left in that Kambuga hospital dying? Who are even far more deserving, who have more critical situations and have been lying there needing help, who are not helped. So although this may have been done legally, that somebody sanctioned the plane to go and evacuate this, it's illegitimate. It's in itself, unconscionable. It's terrible for, to consider that kind of thing happens. So this is what we are talking about. NSSF funds have no way of surviving. So that which is not plundered out of NSSF is actually illegitimately or applied illegally, like what they say, they are investing in public bonds and public securities of the central bank.
Yes.
That is a legal process that they are lending government. They are lending government. Now, that money lent to the government is not retrievable, although the securities say...
You have security.
Yes, but it's never retrievable. So this is how it happens. The government says we want to borrow 1,000 billion, a trillion from NSSF. We shall give interest of maybe 9%. So we are borrowing it for a year with 9% interest. So at the end of the year, they are supposed to get back their
money,
trillion,
yes, and then
plus
the 9%.
What happens is that at the end of the year, the loan is renewed, plus the interest is all renewed.
Oh.
So it's in the books. NSSF has money with the government.
On paper.
On paper. In reality, it is not there because the government does not have it, has no capacity to pay it.
To pay back.
Yes, the government does not have it. So government simply keeps on rolling it over. And so
if what you're saying is true,
but that is that it's not if what I am saying is true. NSSF is there. You are a journalist.
Yes.
Put the question to them. How the maturing securities that they have are managed. They are not only rolled over, fresh money is transferred, is added on every year as workers bring in, rake in more money, it is also transferred to the government.
Doctor, in Kabila's Congo, after he left power, they realized that the consolidated fund had been hijacked and almost completely empty.
That is exactly.
And Kabila was there for how long? A very short time. I think around 18. If Ugandans who have been in such a system for this long, what do we think will happen?
And
may happen?
What I'm talking about is not going on just with NSSF. It is going on with any place where there is money, whether it's pension or otherwise. The police also has a saving scheme.
Yeah.
The military.
There was a lender for the military.
The military has a saving scheme. Same.
In fact, the policemen were also saying that they don't see that money that they are saving. I think it's 50,000 that is deducted off their salary every month.
This country, if they want to know how public resources are planned, let them. But who can? Because Parliament ordinarily would be the one to inquire.
And the Attorney General, at least, and
Auditor General. Auditor General has actually been writing some of these reports of concerns, but so what? You know? So it's, these matter. So unless the whole system of public accountability changes and we end impunity, the absence of the rule of law, unless that changes, talking about because NSSF, remember how many scandals they have wriggled through, the Bakolo, who is now, and who has been talking about what I am talking about. She now lives in the United States, in exile, the former Among.
The former one. Doctor, I have messages here. Okay, you can first finish your point so that we can read a message here.
No. I was simply saying that, what has been going on in the NSSF has been long-standing. It has not started. You remember the Obero Negi and the other.
Was it? We also had the Temangalo sagas.
Yes. So all that, it's not just a new thing. It has been going on.
That means, Doctor, you have a very big problem because it feels like all systems in government are literally obliterated or down. So
the country, it's not me. The country has a problem. It's not me. It's you also. Yes. The country, our country has a problem of institutions that were captured, or institutions that were captured and are abused at will, emasculated, weakened and broken down, and abused at will. Part of the problem of in fact, the Oweres and so on is not just among. There was also the demand for money by what they call the grain association which is an association by the Salim Salehs. They put in a demand, they wanted 40 billion to be loaned to them from NSSF to buy grain, that they are going to buy grain which they will export. I don't know. If you are a trader, why don't you go to the bank? Why must you?
Where you coming to the money that belongs to workers?
Or even if workers were looking for an investment place to invest their money, and maybe they called for, but you to through the ministry again, that pressure is directed through the ministry to them to release part of the danger, in fact, which they all have now, is over the demands coming from General Saleh on NSSF. That is part of the
invisible hand that...
Absolutely, and it's permanent. And it's in every... As long as there is some pool of money, you'll find that hand there, all over the place.
All right. Ethan Mwine, thank you so much for watching. Innocent Ainebiona, you're watching live from Western Uganda. Thank you so much. Bukenya Dan, he says, greetings to my role model in all areas, Dr. Kizza Besigye. How can I meet him? It's a dream to me. It's a dream to me. Mr. Karuhanga, deliver my message. It's delivered. Doctor will tell you. Then Shafiq Sanya says, dear journalist of today, don't beat around the bush. Dr. Kizza Besigye is telling you the right thing. The problem is Museveni and his group who captured the whole country by force. Yeah, it is my role to also ask the questions. Nabate Sakaro says, Besigye, we are tired of this nonsense of unitary. Teach people about federal, the rest will automatically transform. Do you agree with it, Nabate? She says that we should...
you see, no, I don't agree. I don't agree with her. First of all, I totally support a federal system of government. I support it totally. But it's not by itself a solution to all these things we are talking about. No, you can have federal and have the same terrible robbery that is taking place now. As we see in Nigeria, Nigeria is a federal system of government, but it has not stopped. So there are two things. One, decentralization of power is a wonderful thing.
And that's what I think. That's what Nabatesa wants.
And it should happen. But over and beyond decentralization is the democratization of power. So there are two things. One is dispersing
the power.
Dispersing power from the center. The other one is who controls that power. Whether it is at the center, whether it is at the district, who controls it? Is it the population? So that it is the population determining how their resources are used.
Yeah, but in a federal system, I thought that would be better because the money the people are using in that particular region goes to the people who they believe can budget for them very well.
You see, what is going on here at the center can go on even in the state, in the federal state.
It can have links in the...
That's exactly what I'm telling you, which happens in Nigeria. So, exactly how they are robbing at the center, they can also rob, and people have no say at the center, at the state. So yes, we should disperse power, but on top of dispersing, we must have popular control, accountability, public accountability, because public accountability happens when you have institutions that derive power from the people and are accountable to the people.
Yes, I understand.
Where you have institutions captive by a few, whether they are at the center, whether they are down there, they will do the same havoc. You know, there are many undemocratic federal arrangements. So federal, yes, but it's not a single bullet to solve the single bullet that solves all the problems. No.
Okay, so how do we democratize this power?
So that is, first of all, why we must struggle to take it away from those who control it by force. So democratization will happen when we subordinate those that are the armed, so that the armed are servants of the unarmed and account to the unarmed.
Wow.
And that's the struggle that is at hand. The struggle, it's the struggle which we fought with the British, so that we account for our own, we manage our own funds and our own
country.
Yes, wealth. But even when they left, others grabbed the guns and controlled those resources up to now. So until the population asserts their will, so that, you know, this is the point we have been laboring about, even elections. Because you cannot have elections when the population has no power. And that's why since independence, the people of Uganda have never dismissed any leader. Say you have failed, get out. Or to have never lifted anybody into power. So unless that happens, whether you have federal or not, the same problems will continue. In fact, it's like when we said we needed a multi-party political system.
Dispensation, yeah.
And the multi-party political system is indeed good, so that there is freedom of association, there is contestation of ideas, and so on. So now we have a multi-party political system. But does that happen? Do we have freedom of association? Absolutely not. Do we have freedom of speech? Absolutely not. So in effect, do we have a multi-party system? No. It's on paper. So you can have a federal system where power is in the states, but not helping the people themselves.
All right.
And that's why we must, first of all, or primarily, first liberate Uganda from control by force. Then democratize it. And part of the democratization is also decentralization. So that power is not controlled only at the center.
Okay. Franklin Kamoga is watching live from San Francisco. Thank you so much, Mr. Kamoga Frank, for watching. He says that we should comment about the local governments as well. They say that they send money to them, they give money to the consolidated fund, but I think what he's meaning is that they give money to the they repatriate their taxes.
Yeah, but that's the whole idea.
They don't receive the money back.
That's the whole idea of centralized system which we have.
Doctor, now let's go in for a short
If it was a federal, most of the money from the federal unit would be kept in the federal treasury and managed there. And yes, that helps because at least the money is within the state. But whom it is serving in the state is a secondary problem.
All right, Doctor, you can keep sending in those messages right here at the Alternative Uganda, that is on Facebook, at Digitalk TV, still on Facebook. I'm still having a conversation with retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye. We are talking about the state of Uganda today, and our focus, or point of focus, was the NSSF saga, what is happening in there. And we're going to go in for a short commercial break. Keep sending in those particular messages. When we come back, we're going to be looking at some of the statements that were made by the presidential minister, saying that the money that is received by the president or the office of the president is not enough. They need more. And in reiteration, we saw Dr. Kizza Besigye ironically saying that we should reduce the money that is given to the office of the president and invest more in the education sector. Keep sending in those messages. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. Let's go in for a short commercial break. We will be right back.
Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Hello, beautiful people. You're welcome to the Snap Talk with your girl Teddy Tenjo every Saturday, right from 6 to 7.
Naku zino twajjirwa flat tummy. Tukyayambalako ku ngoye obutukwata.
Wajana ku body shaming. Speak up. Gendo ba confronting. Obagambe ekyo kyemukola si kirungi.
Towerabira nti tuli wano ku the Alternative Digitalk. Mukwano gwange gwali topic kiri wandyagadde twogereko. Is it about family?
Nga tata wange amanyira nkola n'obuvunanyizibwa nyina bungi. Era agezaako n'anyamba-yambako yanda.
Naye kumukubira kumubuuzaako. Noga mama we bali kunzaala.
Is it outside family? Is it society? Oh, could it be relationships?
Come and visit, call me. Simanyanga I miss you bichi. Especially embeera y'obudde si nnungi.
Naye n'omuntu akwagalira mu season yaba takwagala ze nkubuulira.
Just be commenting nga topic yonna gyandyagadde twogereko tujjako tujogera ku the Alternative Digitalk ku share enganzi the Snap Talk. Are you craving for that special meal that will entice your taste buds and leave you with lasting thrilling memories? Look no further. Spice Island Bulenga has got your answer. Natural, fresh and delicious juice, the best meals. Don't miss our daily specials from Monday to Sunday. Pizza Wednesday, Saturday Pizza Bonanza, you buy one and take two. Come dine with us and feel the experience. We are located at Prime Shopping Center in Bulenga, Mitiana Road. For inquiries, call us on 0704111720. Spice Island, we treat your cravings.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Are you craving for that special meal that will entice your taste buds and leave you with lasting thrilling memories? Look no further. Spice Island Bulenga has got your answer. Natural, fresh and delicious juice, the best meals. Don't miss our daily specials from Monday to Sunday. Pizza Wednesday, Saturday Pizza Bonanza, you buy one and take two. Come dine with us and feel the experience. We are located at Prime Shopping Center in Bulenga, Mitiana Road. For inquiries, call us on 0704111720. Spice Island, we treat your cravings.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. You're still watching the Interface Show. My name is Edgar Matthew Karahanga. I am a journalist right here at Digitalk TV, and as we told you, we are redefining how stories are being told. We are telling stories at the comfort of your mobile phone, at the comfort of your tablet. We believe that the future is digital, and why not go digital today? I'm still with a retired Colonel, Dr. Kizza Besigye, a gentleman who does not need a lot of explaining if you are in the political spectrum of Uganda. We've been talking about the NSSF saga or bickery between the NSSF and the minister, and I would like to, Doctor, just comment on the last statement that was made by Mr. Kamoga Franklin. And thank you so much, Frank, by the way, for watching. He says that you should comment about the system of the local governments repatriating money to the mainstream consolidated fund. Is that something that we need, or is there a way to deal with it in a different way that will make sure they get more money? Because they pay their taxes, they send money to the consolidated fund, but minimal money comes to them. In fact, some of them say they have not, their budgets have not been, financed or serviced up to now.
You see, Edgar, that concern,
yes, sir,
is the one that stretches to the whole system of centralized government or decentralized government. What you decentralize, if you are to decentralize, is resources, not just names that this is a district when there is nothing in the district.
Fort Portal said that before they became a city, they were actually getting more money than they are.
So what should be decentralized is power. And power entails control of resources and decision making on how those resources are managed. So if you have not decentralized that, then there is no decentralization. And therefore, so of course, even in the federal system, the money that comes to the center will also include money that comes from the states. But the thing is that the state is not the one that allocates money to the states. The states actually pass money to the center, not the other way around.
Yes.
And so I indeed entirely support a situation where people collect their money and use it where they are. They don't have to first send it to the center in order for the center to bring it back to them. This is why I have been so mad about this whole thing that they are drumming up, parish development model.
It's already underway, by the way.
Yes, but it's nonsensical because all the money that is at the center comes from the parish. So you are not making any point to say, I am now bringing 100 million to the parish. When you took away 2 billion from there, and you come drumming, I am bringing...
No, but the 2 billion that was taken out from the parish, doctor, is also the one that is helping the hospital bills, paying civil servants.
It is the one that is not coming back. The point you are making and the point that gentleman was asking is precisely that money. That so much is taken away, it never comes back. And because you see, it is supposed to come back by way of developing the infrastructure, having bridges and roads and so on, and electricity and connectivity and all these things to the rural person.
Yes.
Which money never comes. It is supposed to have a health care system, which nobody can manage on their own. As I told you some time back, the role of government is to primarily to do those things that people cannot do for themselves.
That's why we pay the government.
Yes, so the role of government is not to take money to people, because people earn the money themselves. So what business is it of yours to take their money to them? That is not the role of government at all. The role of government, why people give you money, is so that you do for them what they are not able to do for themselves individually. That is hospitals, that is education, that is infrastructure, that is security.
Create an enabling environment.
Absolutely. That's the only role of government. Not to go that you are taking money to the people, their money. That your role is to take away their money and bring it back to them. That should never be the role of government. And that's why this whole PDM thing is absolutely nonsensical.
But according to the government...
The cost of managing PDM.
Yes, doctor.
That cost, which is huge, which includes the cost of collecting the money they are taking back, you know, which includes the cost of taking the money back, supervising how it is being distributed or stolen or whatever, you know. All that should never have, all that money that is spent in all those processes is taken from the parish. It should have remained in the parish doing their work. It should never have gone on to support all these parasites around. I hear sometimes Mr. Museveni talking about parasites. He's the chief parasite. And all those below him are the smaller parasites that go around feeding on the people in the parish.
But if you're trashing the parish development model, Doctor, and this is the mode that government has seen or has deemed
you see,
necessary, it's the only way that they are going to reduce corruption. We've been giving money, people have been stealing it. Right now we are giving it directly to them, to their accounts.
People are completely capable of developing themselves. They are completely capable of even managing their own credit arrangements. They were doing so. When they were cooperatives, cooperatives could set up cooperative banks and they could collect money and give it to whoever wants to produce and so on and so forth. You don't need that. You don't need the government to do that. These were private cooperatives. They have the capacity to do that. So what government should be focusing and concentrating on, which they are not, and deliberately, is doing the bigger things that individuals can't do. Supporting education, which is the basis of any sustainable development in a country. It is education that will provide health care. It is education that will provide innovation and industrialization and all the transformative processes that they claim to have any attachment to. They don't have any attachment to those things.
I beg to disagree with you. Many Ugandans today are educated, and most of them are sitting
They are not. They are not educated.
With their degrees at their home.
Degrees are not being educated.
You know the rate of unemployment.
Having certificates does not mean that you have knowledge and skills. It doesn't. And increasingly, people have certificates without knowledge or skills.
Yeah, but they have gone through the education sector that the country has provided.
So that is, that's what must be reviewed, because that means there is no education system. There is a name of an education system, but it's not doing what it should be doing. Because what it should be doing, in fact, even the traditional education system, before the Muzungu came, before modern society of governance evolved,
yes, sir,
was even far more advanced. Before the colonial advent, our people had developed knowledge that could, for example, prospect from the surface of the earth, know what is underneath. People could tell that here there is a valuable mineral, and they would mine and get the mineral and process the mineral into usable
material,
tools and equipments and so on.
Yes, doctor.
They had knowledge that time. The ones you are talking about who have certificates don't have that knowledge. Nobody among your certificate people, even PhD people, you know, you see around.
There are many people with PhDs that are unemployed.
PhD, you are PhD.
I know people with masters.
Yes, you are PhD, but which is completely useless. In fact, some of them are worse than those who are not in school, who have not been to school, because they develop complexes out of the certificates they hold, as if they are entitled to something better when they have nothing better in themselves. So the point I was making is government role should be to focus on that. How do we improve quickly the knowledge and skills in our community and invest public resources in doing that? How do we do research to gain new knowledge? you know, which is part of education. How do we invest in research? Because you hear them even talking about, you know, we are making vehicles. Nonsense.
Killer cars.
Absolute nonsense, you know. You don't start by making cars when you cannot even make a safety pin.
but then, Doctor, what should government do? Because everything
you build systematically. Yes, of course you can become an assembly plant.
We are assembling. We are assembling cars. We are not making.
That is also something.
We are assembling.
That is also something. The question is whether even that assembly is cost effective. You see, there was a time when we built a factory here, which was a strategic thing, to build a factory that makes bullets, you know, that can support the security sector. But it was ill-conceived, because you see, unless you are able to make bullets massively, the cost will become completely prohibitive. It makes sense when you have economies of scale, when you are able to produce massively.
The unit cost is more expensive.
It's far more expensive. So the factory is still there at Nakasongola, but I think it's no longer clear, cannot produce. It could have been done if we had organized differently, maybe first united the market of bullets in Africa, and we say we import from China maybe 1 billion bullets every year. Let's make a factory that can make 1 billion bullets every year, so that it serves all of us. We could do that and outcompete China. And also save our own foreign exchange and so on and so forth. But if you have not made any plans and you wake up and say, I want to assemble buses, you are just, a Nikopump.
Feroz Mwonge says, UPE came in 1997. The number of student enrollment was down. After 10 years, enrollment increased beyond resource capacity, which affected the quality. Okay. Then Philip Kaziwe Daddy says, Dr. Kajambo, thanks for the good work. Live and direct from Gomba. Shafiq would love to agree with Doctor. He says, parish development model is totally nonsense. We people ask ourselves, what was Emyoga money done? Oh, I think he wanted me, what has Emyoga money done?
It's not Emyoga intended you plan for, I don't know, modernization of this, the NADS money, the wealth creation money, all these things. It's a wrong approach. You know, just give people skills, give them the infrastructure to do, you know, like the cooperative system, as I have told you, that was an infrastructure. You have a cooperative, you have a law that establishes how they will regulate themselves and so on, and they do it themselves. You don't have to go there to help them do it. And they can build their own resources within it. Who destroyed the cooperatives? The same thieves that are now claiming they are bringing money to help people, when people already had a cooperative bank that was doing all these things. So, you know, the whole thing is that local governments, which was your question.
Yes.
The local governments are dead. Dead, D-E-A-D. All local governments, urban authorities are dead. They are non-functional. They have no money. They are bankrupt. They cannot provide any service. All of them, from, don't forget, there is what, the other day I was in a place in Mitiana, and an LC3 chairman gave us his report. He said he had 31 parishes in his LC3. 31 parishes. He said the budget of the parish had been 87 million. It has now been reduced to 15 million for a year.
For a parish?
For the parish.
And you'll find one parish has like 7,000 to 10,000 people.
So this parish, I have told you, has that this for the sub-county, not for the parish, for the sub-county, 15 million.
For the whole sub-county?
Yes, for 31 parishes.
The sub-county has like 150,000 people.
Yes, for 31 parishes.
15 million?
Yes.
UGX.
So every parish will have less than 500,000.
So when we trunkle it down to the people, how much would each individual
so
get?
This LC3,
around 300
this LC3 man was saying, I cannot even have money to move around to see what is going on. That is your local government. And that is what is going on all over. Local governments, even urban authorities. They just put labels on them. Mbarara, you are now Mbarara City. Jinja, you are Jinja City. Mbale, you are Mbale City. The money they have to use is less than what they had when they were municipalities.
That I can agree with you, because the mayor of Fort Portal mentioned it recently. And I'm sure, but Dr. Then, my question is, because we're having a lot of inflation and a lot of economic challenges now, what are those solutions that can work in the now? Because if you talk about improving the education, that's in a long haul.
You see, in the now, and we have said it before, what it is to change priorities. We have to restructure how we apply our resources. The only challenge is who has power to do that. So what needs to be done is easy and known. We have to put money where it is needed, where the people are, like I told you.
Yes, sir.
You said that the 2 billion almost which they take to State House is not enough. They are looking for money. 2
billion per day, by the way.
Yes, they are looking for more money.
Yeah, it's exactly the truth.
Yes. While the young people who are going back to school next month will only have 3,000 shillings for a term. That's less than $1 for a term for their education. Less than $1. 3,000 shillings for a term. Those are the ones supposed to build knowledge and skills that will transform the country. Agriculture, where we say Uganda is an agricultural country.
67% of us are doing agriculture.
Yes, Uganda is an agricultural country. And indeed, possibly about 80% of the people depend directly or indirectly on agriculture. But what is the budget for agriculture? We depend on God for rain, although He has already put fresh water all over around us everywhere. In the lake, all these lakes are fresh water. The rivers.
I would think at Uganda, I think 85% of Ugandan land is actually cultivable. It's arable and you can
and the water is all over the place.
So we are by the mercy of God.
We can produce 24/7.
Yes.
If we invested. But we are not. That's not where we are investing. We are investing in fighting in Congo. We are investing in Mr. Museveni's patronage. The huge budget he gets to buy vehicles for those who may support his nani. The Muhozi project, I don't know, is all over the place, moving. All these are public resources. So we have simply to change the priorities. The only challenge to doing that is, do we have the power to change the priorities? And that is the question the people of Uganda must answer if they are to survive. They must acquire the power to change priorities and to determine who manages their priorities. And in other words, they must regain control over the country, which they certainly don't have. And that's the struggle at hand. And this is the struggle we are saying should be determined one way or the other this year. We should not look at, I don't know, there is an election going to happen at some stage. The election will never shift power. An election is a process to manage, not to shift power. It is to manage, like we were talking about the board of directors managing the affairs of a corporation or whatever. So the elections, you elect members of the board. You don't, that election, it cannot shift the power of the board vis-a-vis the shareholders or whatever, no. Shareholders have the power, that's why they elect the board. So you cannot shift the power from the shareholders by just an election. The power in Uganda will not shift through an election. An election is not meant for that. An election is simply meant to find managers, not to shift power.
Yeah, because by the way, there is one thing that among all the elections we've had, there is one common denominator. The president is always the same.
Yes, of course.
That's the common denominator.
Of course, because that's the one with the power. So that's, and it will not change unless that power moves from his home, where he has kept it by force, to the population. That's the struggle we must accomplish, you know, for then to be able to look for managers of our power.
So managers, getting managers is secondary.
Yeah, absolutely,
Primarily,
absolutely.
You're
Yes, so the challenge, people are looking at something that cannot solve their problem. An election is not meant to shift power. It is meant to shift managers of the power.
That is retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye. 26 minutes past 11 a.m. You are still watching the Interface Show. My name is Karuhanga Edgar Matthew, and we're still talking about the state of Uganda today. I have a couple of messages here. Mr. Arthur K, thank you so much for watching. He says Dr. Kizza Besigye is unequivocally unrivaled. Hey, that's a lot of English. He's unequivocally unrivaled. That no doubt. Equivocally. Thank you for the correction, Doctor. Dr. Besigye is unequivocally unrivaled. That no doubt. Keep up the fight, sir. We do appreciate your relentless efforts. But I think Doctor is also calling upon you guys to join him instead of congratulating him. He also says, we had a Baluku Jr. watching from Semiliki region in Bundibugyo. Thank you so much for watching. Say hi to the people of Bundibugyo. Dan Bukenya says, Museveni and fellow goons are running Uganda as a personal kraal. However, it's our responsibility to fight more and do away with this impunity and hypocritic government. Thank you so much, Mr. Bukenya Dan, for watching. Peter Sabiti says, Doctor, how can we remain optimistic and hopeful amid situation of utter hopelessness? The level of understanding and cautiousness among Ugandans has been deteriorating every day. And now you have many false opposition politicians who unfortunately seem to be attracting a large clout owing to support from the junta. He talks about the double-sidedness of the opposition. You will be commenting on that, sir. Mr. Bukenya Dan also continues to say, you see what Mr. Museveni's government did is to first worsen all working systems. By disorganizing the education sector of Uganda and doing away with the political education, they knew that they will produce products, they will less reason and challenge their hypocrisy. Our civic competence as a nation is still our civic competence as a nation is still low and has helped these rooters to achieve more. That's why even the Parliament of Uganda is now useless. Makes decisions based on feelings and emotions, stroke personal fights instead of national interests. So, the money wasted in State House should be reduced. Have you ever heard of any parliamentary committee digging deep in the money for radios and televisions that was given to the Ministry of Education? Or how the Ministry of Education utilized the money that was given to them as their budgetary allocation during COVID time? M7 government is asking for more money just to create a channel of robbery. So the same way State House has been said as a gate path for theft. I submit. Yes, we have got your submission, Mr. Bukenya. Thank you so much. Sanya says parish development model is totally nonsense. We people, we ask ourselves, what was Emyoga money done? I've already read that. He says, dear Mr. Karuhanga, education is not just a certificate. Education is knowledge, because my sister went to Dubai with a diploma in nursing, but they directed to take another course. Though she was given a job in hospital, but she was not allowed to touch any patient. She was just a helper in the hospital. Thank you so much, Sanya. Feroz says, you cannot say Ugandan education system is bad, yet we continue to produce our own doctors in Uganda who are making big achievements. Doctor, you comment on that. He says, surely we need to reduce the size of the government. It's overbearing on economy. That is actually true. We have a parliament that has over 526 legislators. We have a cabinet that has over 81 ministers. We have not talked about the permanent secretaries. We've not talked about the commissioners, all that. He says, I agree with Dr. Besigye on the issue of education. Education is knowledge. Yeah, this one is already done. He says, our challenge today is the over-comfortable elite. He mentions this, and I think Doctor has also reiterated this in most of his statements. CNN recently named us among the tourism destinations to visit, but now our roads leading to the sites are failing us. Thank you so much. You can keep sending in those messages. I'll be reading them as we continue with the discussion. Doctor, is there anyone you would want to first reply?
Well, first of all, many make indeed valid observations that I entirely agree with. Maybe to touch on this whole question of despondency, people losing hope that really things can be better, change can happen, you know.
The hopelessness.
Yes, and saying, you know, now even leaders are being bought, and so what can we do? You see, two things on this. First of all, it is true that the regime will seek to remain in office and remain doing what it is doing, misusing our resources and padding their nests. They will continue doing that by bribing and compromising leaders, so that people remain without those to, as soon as leaders emerge amongst people to say, let's assert our will, they compromise them. And that's what one of the people who sent a message was saying, that they will continue to do, but even as they do that, they become weaker.
I thought they become stronger. They're taking your numbers.
So they think they are becoming stronger, and temporarily they may be able to remain in office. But in the long run, they become weak and collapse. Why?
Why?
Because what sustains a country is not bribing leaders. It is the country having a strong, vibrant economy. What they are doing in bribing leaders does not help production. I was telling you that what would help production that sustains a country is building knowledge. So instead of building knowledge, the money that would be building knowledge and skills is spent on compromising leaders, buying a vehicle for for the bishop here, for the
the diocese. I don't understand the reason
for
why
full figure. For
religious leaders get cards in this country from the president.
Yes, so full figure will take 400 million vehicle, and the other one so that pay this one, pay journalists so that journalists don't expose the road. Pay, they spend a lot of money in doing that.
Just for matters of factual correctness, Full Figure did not get a car. It was Bebe Cool, and there is a lady who sings.
I'm just using the car figuratively.
Yeah, figuratively.
They get money. That's why it's not that they get money, and I think I saw her complaining about money not coming.
Exactly. Some of them, after the honeymoon, many of them come out and they are
because there are others who are coming up.
I thought I was supposed to get
this. The more you pay people to compromise, the more who need to be compromised come up. So patronage expands exponentially. It expands by bounds and outstrips your capacity to maintain it.
Yes.
Yet, even as it is expanding and you are paying more, you are not building wealth. You are paying from the resources of very few who are producing, and you are wasting it. So eventually, the people to produce become far fewer.
Yeah.
And that's where we are now. Revenue Authority is now totally desperate because Mr. Museveni and his friends, who are the consumers, are on the neck of Revenue Authority to raise more money for them to pay for their survival.
Yes.
Revenue Authority is rampaging all over to look for money to give them. From who? From producers, from businessmen, in fact, the Revenue Authority is now engaged in some kind of robbery itself. If they see that you have some balance of money on your account, it doesn't matter how that money came to your account, whose money it is. What the Revenue Authority does, it issues an order to the bank to give them the money because you have not paid taxes.
Yes,
what they call the garnishee orders. They are roaming all over the banks looking for who has any balance on their account. And they issue garnishee orders. They take the money. Of course, you can reclaim it after some time. You can go and show that I don't owe you, Revenue Authority. This is my business. It is paying its due. Why did you take my money?
But the money has already gone.
But the money has already gone, and they don't return it. So they say, oh, sorry, we have realized our mistake now. So we shall reduce it from your future tax obligations.
So you pay upfront. You're paying
because
upfront.
The money has already been siphoned off by the other ones who are waiting for it. So now, Revenue Authority is actually the newest robber in the town. People are wondering about these ones who erect illegal roadblocks and take from passengers. The real person to worry about is the Revenue Authority, which is robbing from the banks through the banks.
But isn't that supposed to be private information belonging to Ugandans? If we are seeing Revenue Authority having access to private information, bank accounts of individuals, of Ugandans, how safe is even our information we have?
This is the whole thing.
So
this is the whole thing. But the danger they are doing to themselves, but maybe with few options, is that therefore the people who would be making money and putting it in the banks and paying their taxes, they are now saying, why should I go through all this? So, I mean, I work so hard, I wake up very early, I sleep very late, I take risks to make money, and then this is what I end up with. So let me close my business, maybe let me go to Kenya and trade from there, or let me go to Dubai, or let me just go to my village and live a quiet life. So producers of the wealth are rapidly going down. Go to Kampala here, shops are closed, you know, and more are closing. So revenue authority soon will have nobody to rob.
That's the truth. And
the ones who are on their necks to get money from them to maintain the patronage will not have anywhere. Will even with the whatever methods, revenue authority will not have money. So the point I'm trying to make here,
yes, sir,
is that those who are feeling that things are so bad, nothing can happen, you know, they are bribing everybody, they are doing, even that, because they will never have enough people to, they will never bribe enough people. As soon as they bribe some, others come up.
Yeah.
This has been going on since independence. In the 1960s, nearly all the leaders of DP, which was the official opposition, crossed to the ruling government, including the leader of opposition. They all went.
Wow.
But that did not end the problems of the ruling government, because in doing that and the expenditure that is changes hands and so on, it worsens the situation of the people whose money they are playing with.
So those are temporary solutions.
Absolutely.
That is permanent.
They are not only temporary, but they are poisonous to those who do them. So they are not solutions. Yes, initially they, you know, it's like indeed if you eat, if you are very hungry and you take in food that causes cancer, even when you know that this food will cause, so you may feel satisfied
at the moment,
but it starts working on your tissues and so on, and in 5 years you are dead. So these ones are coming to the end of their lives. They have been eating cancerous food, and now it has come to do its work. They are dead. That's why I've told you the local government, and that's how bodies die, that's also how governments die. You know, I told you the local governments, the urban authorities are dead.
Exactly.
So they have now been trying to borrow to artificially stay alive, looking for life-saving.
You've mentioned that our threshold has passed half of, in fact, has passed full budgets. That means the debt we have as Uganda is more than the entire budget we set for a year. So that means practically for Ugandan out there, even if we decided that this year there is no road that is going to be built, there is no money that is going to be invested in the education sector, we still cannot pay off our debt.
Yeah, so our people should not lose hope. Why? Because what we have been fighting for, and the reason indeed they have to put out money and do this, is because of the pressure we keep piling on them.
Yes.
On behalf of all people who are facing injustice. So now we are at a point where they can no longer, because even borrowing, they are going to reach a place where they can no longer.
We can no longer even right now.
No longer be credible.
Credible enough.
To
we're already at that point, Doctor.
Where they will be credible enough to be lent money.
Yeah, we're already at that point.
Maybe not, because I still hear them, you know, moving around, getting parliament
but
to
legally
approve,
we're already there.
getting parliament to approve new loans. But this is coming to a head. So on the one hand, one of the reasons what they are doing should not cause us to lose hope, that they are bribing, they have bribed this one, and therefore we lose hope, is because they are swallowing poison, which will in itself kill them. But secondly, you see, the whole reason that revolutions like ours never die, or revolutionary struggle like ours never die, is that the drivers for the causes for which we are struggling don't die.
They're there.
They become stronger. They become stronger. So even when even in actual war, you may shoot and kill some commanders and some soldiers, but as long as the driver for the war, the causes for which that war is going on, as long as they remain strong, new soldiers will come to the front, so you must deal with the causes if you want to get anywhere. This is why I laugh at this junta. When you see we have killed so many ADF, we have done this, so we have accounted for everybody who had attacked us in this. We have either killed or arrested them. That has not taken away the reason they came in the first place. And others will come.
Because the reason is still there.
Yeah, absolutely. Others will come, And indeed, it has never ended. So the story is always going on. We have killed, we have captured, we have done this, we shall crash, but it never ends. And it will not end until you say to be crashing. You are the one who will eventually crash. And we have seen them crash before. And these ones will also crash. So, so Ugandans should not be despondent, should not say, things are so bad, nothing can happen. No. In fact, as the saying goes, things tend to become worse before they become better.
Good, yeah.
And we are at that watershed point, where things are really worse, and yes, they will become worse, but as a way of then becoming better.
Okay.
And we are about to get there. As I have said, the regime itself is now so wobbly. Even these whole things, as I talked about previously, of the Muhoozi project, I saw, they are all mechanisms of how do we survive. Because now Museveni and his establishment and all the lies they have told all these years can no longer be sustainable. Now everybody dismisses them. You are useless.
Even when they speak the truth, people dismiss the truth.
Absolutely, because they have no reason to believe them. So now that's why they have been saying, by the way, there is a new generation which can bring new things.
Leader.
Yes, it can bring new things. And that's why the new generation of Muhoozi is trying to say, no, these NRM, they are, we don't...
So he is distancing himself from them because he also knows the data.
It's not just him. It's the people within that whole system that controls and has mismanaged the country.
Yes.
They are trying to look for ways how they can recreate themselves. Because as I have said, they have reached an end game. They have reached an end point. So they are worried, how do we survive beyond this? How do we recreate ourselves? But there is no, if they were, the trouble is that people who have been in office and, abusing public resources the way they have been doing for so long, they can no longer relate with reality. So you cannot advise them anything. They live in a world of their own. So that's why they are unhelpable. You can't help them to see reality.
Because they are not in the reality you have seen.
No, absolutely. They are not. So the only thing is for us to galvanize our strength and place them where they need to be, which is on using the words of Mr. Museveni himself, the dung heap of history. The dung heap in Runyankore, they call it Orubungo, where whenever you clean the cow dung, they used to pile it on one area, So history has its dung heap.
Doctor, allow me, because we are remaining with a few minutes, allow me just read some messages of some other Ugandans here. Now, this is a vote of thanks from Miss Nabasa Dyson. Dyson says, thank you, Dr. Kizza Besigye, for not giving up on liberating Ugandans. You have done your part, even when some Ugandans are throwing stones at you, but we know we shall ever pay you. But what we shall ever pay you back? I think you wanted to ask. Yeah. God knows. I pray and believe you will live to see the Uganda I hope to see. God bless you.
By the grace of God, yes.
All blessings are allowed. So Dyson, thank you for watching as well. There is a gentleman called Emochu Emmanuel. He says, he puts love emojis and says, but here in Uganda, where everyone who's heading any government institution is appointed by the president, what can change since everyone is fighting to maintain their job? Doctor has mentioned that.
Yeah.
Peter,
they will be swept away eventually.
Swept away. Peter Barongo says it's not those heading government institutions to change anything because they are in government offices already. But you and me, who's not in any office, do your part, bro. That is some. I think your message is actually trickling down to Ugandans. Seringo Ronald says, I'm watching live from Kasangati. Thanks for your good news. You're welcome. Ram Crouch says, my president, Dr. Kizza Manyi. Then this one is a Besigye holic. There are people called Besigye holics. This generation, you'll find a Chagulanyi diehard, Besigye holic. Muhozi, there's a way they call themselves the MK Army.
They should be Uganda holic because they're the real.
Yes, it shouldn't be an individual. But this one says, Kano, I don't know much about NSSF, but I have an idea on how Wazalendo is managed. It was looted long ago. Police Sacco has 0 savings left. Mubiru Ben Edobozi Lyabavubuka Ebulenga, he says he's following the conversation. Thank you, Edobozi Lyabavubuka Ebulenga. Asimo Ismail says the level of personalization of our national resources and decisions should concern all right-thinking members of society. Dr. Kizza Besigye, asante sana for awakening Ugandans. Then lastly, I'll read a message from Mr. Robert Mayanja. Thank you, Mr. Robert Mayanja, for watching a special gentleman candid in his statements. Robert Mayanja, he says he's watching live from Upper Hill, Bina, Luzira. Say hi to all the people of Luzira. Doctor, is there anything you want to react? People are giving you blessings, and this gentleman said that the circle of the police is already gone and the Wazalendo has already been depleted a long time ago. What do you have to say about that, Doctor?
Well, I have no doubt. In fact, that's what I said myself, that any place where there is money to talk about, the hand of the plunderers will be dipped in that money, as long as it's a poor, even private money, by the way. It's, as I have pointed out, it's very, very risky to have a lot of private money on your account. People have paid very, very heavily for that. You know, you'll be arrested, some trumped up charges will come, will be placed on you, you will be in the safe houses, eventually that money will go. So we are in very, very terrible times. And really, the sooner, because, you know, we have to keep on simply saying this, there is one route out of this.
Yes, sir.
Short of taking and focusing on that route, we shall just be lamenting. There is this problem, there is a health problem, there is this problem. The solution that will start the process of, you know, changing all these problems to solutions is to shift power from those who control it by force, who acquire it by force and control it by force, which has been the system since independence. Acquire and control power by force. That we must put an end to it.
Yes, sir.
So that those who control the instruments of force, the weapons that are used to coerce others to obey them.
Yes, Doctor.
Must come under the control of those who are not armed. The control of the coercive forces. And so that, you know, if tomorrow they say that, Edgar, we are choosing you to be our chief manager in Uganda, you are going to be the president for the next 5 years, we are appointing you, we are electing you or appointing you, whatever. Then all those who have guns and so on salute you. It's not you they are saluting the population that has entrusted that power with you. And you order them. You are now ordered to go to war, and they go. You are ordered to stop there, and they stop. Because it is not you, you are simply a representative, a worker of the people.
You reminded me during the election, there is one gentleman from Masaka, nature official, who said, you cannot salute child.
Absolutely. And that is, before that changes, that will be the order. They will not salute not just Kyagulanyi or anybody else who is not part of the cabal that has captured the country.
Doctor, please conclude because...
First of all, as I have said, that is how change will be procured. There was somebody who was saying that, but Uganda is still producing doctors. How can we say we have a bad education? How can we say we have a bad education system when we are still producing doctors? When we were coming out of Makerere, during our years, we could go and work anywhere in the world with our certificates.
And they were valid.
Absolutely. Respect, not only valid, but highly respected. At that time, research, medical research in Mulago was revered around the whole world. There are many things that were discovered in Mulago, many conditions which are named after people that were in Mulago. You know, when you hear, you know, like these tumors in children and so on, they were discovered here. Remedies, forms of treatment were discovered in Mulago previously, which were followed by the whole world. Today, if you get your certificate of medicine and surgery, whether from Makerere, whether from the other university of Kampala International, university, whether from, there are so many now medical schools around, you will have to be retrained. If you go anywhere, you will not be licensed.
It's exactly what the gentleman mentioned here in one of the comments.
Yes, you will not be licensed anywhere. So that shows you that our education has really plummeted to a level that is unheard of. Now, there was also some other gentlemen.
There are still many questions that we
who wanted to know how to reach me. Our offices
it's called Sanya Shafik.
Our offices are on Katonga Road. This is in Nakasero, number 6, Katonga Road. And if you don't know where Katonga Road is, hopefully you may find the golf course. At the golf course, there is some there is a junction with a lot of lights there.
Yes.
There is a Fairway Hotel there. And the road that goes up from that junction towards Sheraton, Katonga Road is the first on the left. We are at number 6. and you can call in there and get to know how we can link up from there.
So, Doctor, in just a minute before you leave, this gentleman just asked a question. Thanks, Edgar. Ask Doctor to share light about power relationship of the UPDF and the civilians in Uganda. Just a minute. Can you just comment on the power relationship between the UPDF?
Well, first of all, like I said before, the UPDF is a tool now to control power over the country. So the power over the country is controlled using, not by, using UPDF by Mr. Museveni and his family. So UPDF is itself in captivity.
So one of the ones that needs to be set
free. So UPDF is among the institutions that must be liberated.
Okay, Doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor.
But for that, before it is liberated, it is used and even abused to terrorize people for the benefit of those who control it.
Doctor, just because we've come to the end of the discussion, Shafiq says, why is Rwanda developing so faster than Uganda in terms of tourism, transport system, education system, health systems, and development in Kigali city as well? Guys, the messages are many.
Yeah, in Kigali they have tried to build institutions there that function.
Yeah, but they also have the same person at the helm.
Yeah, they may, but you know, what I'm talking about is this. Even here, even with Museveni, if he was there all this time,
yes, sir,
but chose a different approach where institutions function, where there is accountability.
Yes,
you know, there is no free stealing like there is.
Dr. Time
the outcomes would be different.
Doctor, I think we're going to end there. Just on a light note, I know you are a Manchester United fan. Today you are taking on Manchester City, Manchester Derby. You have won 9 games in a row. Surprising for Manchester United. And you are
it's not surprising.
It is surprising in this
we are on our way to becoming what we used to be.
You have a 1 Ten Hag.
We are on our way to. Don't forget, we started this season at number 20.
Yes, that's the
so now we are creeping to.
They say a bad beginning makes a good end.
We are creeping to the top. So, but well, it's been always a pleasure to be here, and I think you know, there are so many things that we could have talked about. We didn't talk about the end of Ebola and what that means, and you know, whether there is a celebration to have and so on and so forth. Maybe at the next meeting we shall.
Yes.
And there are many things this week to talk about, but time couldn't allow. Yeah. So I must wish you a wonderful weekend in the circumstances. I know that it's not easy for the greatest majority of you, but hang in there. Like I talked about, survival is a large part of success. So keep surviving in the adverse circumstances that you may be faced with, and eventually together we shall overcome. Remember, the task at hand is to end gun rule. And we must unite. Let's first forget about our different party colors and so on. Let's unite. Let's fight against this domination, overcome it, have a transition to a new system of government, which will include, as was suggested many times, reducing the power at the center, and certainly having control of the people over all institutions of state. I wish you God's blessing. God bless you till next week.
I'm going to put you on a spot, Doctor. What do you expect? Is Manchester City taking it? What is the score for you?
Well, a tough one, because I'm also a realist. We are doing very well.
Yes.
I think we could, you know, overcome Manchester City marginally, or even have a draw.
Okay.
I certainly wish the best team to win.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Kizza Besigye. It's always a privilege having you right here on the Interface Show. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the conversation, but a special shout out to everybody who has sent in those messages, everybody who has been viewing. It's been a pleasure having you right here. Please do join us next Saturday at exactly 10 a.m. To 12 midday. We're always here with retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, having a conversation with Uganda, and we think this is our stone that we're putting on the democratization of this country, and we think that the future is better for Ugandans. So guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. You can please do follow me on Twitter at Edgar M. Karuhanga. You'll see me right there, and you can also send in a direct message. You can keep having the conversation. Please share this video as much as you can, as wide as it can go, because the Interface Show is the best show that you can find in Uganda today. Let's go, and we shall meet on Monday on the Mighty Drive. It's always here. Today evening we have the Snap Talk Show that happens at 6 p.m. to 7. It's proudly hosted by Teddy Tenjo Nabukera. Please do tune in at 6 p.m. We'll be right there. Thank you so much. See you next Saturday. Bye.
Are you craving for that special meal that will entice your taste buds and leave you with lasting thrilling memories? Look no further. Spice Island Bulenga has got your answer. Natural, fresh and delicious juice, the best meals. Don't miss our daily specials from Monday to Sunday. Pizza Wednesday, Saturday Pizza Bonanza, you buy one and take two. Come dine with us and feel the experience. We are located at Prime Shopping Center in Bulenga, Mitiana Road. For inquiries, call us on 0704111720. Spice Island, we treat your cravings.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.